All right, everybody, we are live. Welcome to another edition of Boston Straight Shooters. I am one of the hosts, Steve, aka Negative Ned. I'm joined by Kevy Kev for the time being. Uh, Thanks for joining, Kev. How you doing?
Hey, what's happening, Steve?
Frank is going to be late, so hopefully he'll join us momentarily. Until then, we're going to hold down the fort for him. I'm going to try and talk and post a link at the same time so you can join the show. We're going to start with the Bruins, and we're going to start with the good news, which is that Jeremy Swayman signed finally 8 years, $66 million.
Yeah.
And while I post this, the link, Kev, why don't you give me your thoughts on what you think about him finally coming around?
Just saying, did it seem to me like that was just kind of a little bit of a waste of a time? We knew what they were right there in the middle, and they settled right there in the middle anyway. It's like that the big ask in the beginning was kind of, we saw what that was all about. And I hate to say money grab, but just to eke out a couple of 1 million, or it's like, okay, I can't be upset with rich people, and how they want their millions. Crazy. That's them. Do you think? Hopefully one day I'll be there, so I'll be worried about it too. So.
Well, I think we'd all like to be in their shoes. I just keep saying that they're playing with monopoly money, right? But they're not living in the real world like we are.
Yeah.
I mean, initially they are, but at some point, they're making millions of dollars. What's that?
A little bit of haggling over those little minor, really? I don't know.
I think what happens is obviously the agents get involved, right? And they oversell their client, and they want their client to get the most money. And right out of the chute, they're asking for $9 or $10 million a year. They know he's not worth that, right? But it's like buying a car, right? You see the sticker price; it says 30,000 on it. You're like, that thing's not worth 30,000. I'm going to haggle with them. I'm going to offer them 24, and then you meet in the middle somewhere, and they make a deal with you. And that's kind of the same thing that happened here. I think that, I'm upset because of Swayman not being realistic. I'm also upset at the Bruins. I'm not letting them off the hook completely because I think initially that their initial offer was too low. I think they lowballed him. They kind of did what the Red Sox did with John Lester. I think I said that last week, right? They offered him 6.2 based on another comparable goalie from a few years ago. I honestly think that they should have came in right off the bat at 7 years, $7 million a year, $49 million. That maybe makes it a little bit less of this button heads for them. But in the end, I'm upset with Sway because we talked about last week. These Gen Z guys, they want it all. I deserve this. Pay me what I'm worth. I'm upset. Oh, can we repair the relationship? Like, what do you need? A safe space guy? Go freaking cry somewhere. I mean, I don't like any of that garbage. No, he got butthurt.
That's the era that we're in right now, though. It's unfortunate to see it like that.
Well,
it's all over, not just the hockey league, but it's and everything else too. I mean, the word is entitlement. A lot of people feel that, I want to get this, so I should be able to get this. Why can't I? And it's like, oh Lord, I'm tired. This is why I've checked out on some of these, even their home teams, and I've been a home team fan since I can remember. I mean, a little kid, maybe at 4 years old, had a little Red Sox baseball cap on. Didn't even realize it, but I was a fan. And growing up in this whole thing through the whole era with the Patriots, from freaking Jim Plunkett to, Steve Grogan to Eason, and I've seen it all, heard it all, and
I'm right there with you.
I'm worn out.
I look, when the players deserve the money, I'm okay with it if you're reasonable. I don't sit there and be like, all right, well, none of them should make anything. I mean, Mookie Betts should have been given $30 million a year right off the bat. That was a joke what they did to him. Right? So he's a guy where I look at it and I'm like, okay, That guy wants $350 million. He's worth it. He's a 5-tool player. So shame on the Red Sox. Okay. But in this particular case, Swayman listened to his agent. His agent is, like I said, he's like the Scott Boras of the NHL. He's a hard-nosed guy. And at some point, you either have to back down a little bit and get reasonable, or you need to fire this guy and get another guy. If you really want to be here, he wouldn't be the first guy to fire his agent and get a deal done if you really want to be here. And so, some people are like, well, that's what he was asking for all along. That's what he wanted. He wanted $8 million. Yeah. No, he didn't. He didn't. When they asked him point blank if he felt he was going to set the market, he said yes. I'm looking out for the guys behind me, and so he's looking for $9-10 million a year. He's not worth that. It's too soon for him to be making that kind of money or asking for that kind of money. I felt that 8 years, $8 million, and I think, look, Cam Neely was probably pissed off. That's why he came out in the press conference and said, "Hey, I got 64 million reasons why you should be, on the ice." And I think it lit a fire under him. I think that, they must have went to him and said, "Look, this is it. You either take this or we're done." That there has to be one of those moments at some point. You can't coddle these guys. Everybody you can't fall in love with the players if you're management either.
I told you, Steve, not in this day and era. This is it. This is the new norm. This is it, brother.
I know. Unfortunately, it is. But look, I am glad that he signed because they're better with him. So let's not mistake hi, Denise, I see you. The link is there if you want to join, or you can just listen. We're talking Bruins. Jeremy Swayman, make some comments in there. I'm sure you have some thoughts. I just, look, they're better with him, right? So It's not like I wanted them to get rid of him, but at some point, I was so aggravated. I'm like, okay, I'm just ready to trade this guy, get a first-round pick, get what you can, save the money, use it to sign a top-scoring forward next year, and be done with it. But that's not the case now. So look, they got and it's going to take him a few games to get his feet under him. He had no training camp now. So this is what happens. He's behind the 8 ball. And Kev, you've seen it. We've talked about it across all sports. When a guy misses games, football in particular, I'll use. When those guys miss 2 games, 2 regular season games, they're screwed. They're going to get hurt. They're going to miss more time. They barely try to, they can barely stay healthy enough to stick with to stick for the season. So by any strange miracle, did you watch the game last night? Yeah, they basically
playing catch up. So
let me go ahead. Share some more of your thoughts. I'll see if I can reply to Denise here.
It's about getting a rhythm, and once you miss a couple of games like those training camp games, those preseason games, those get you into the rhythm. And once you miss those, and then you just jump into it, ready to just stop playing or whatever, your rhythm's going to be off a little bit. We've seen it time and time again, and I think this is going to affect his rhythm. Well, that's what it's doing right now.
It will. They can practice at BU all they want. They really need live action with their teammates. And my guess is their next game is tomorrow night against the Canadians. It wouldn't really surprise me if they put them in after last night's pasting. And so I don't know if you saw it or what you saw, but I watched the game.
I know they got the win.
No, they lost. They got killed.
I'm thinking of the Panthers. I thought the
Panthers pasted the Bruins. That score 6-4 wasn't even close as that. That was misleading. They were getting killed. They were losing 6-2, 4-1, 4-1 at the end of the first period. The Panthers came out, pushed them around like they always do. I'm sure people are going to be like, "Oh, see, the goalie's terrible." It wasn't his fault. The guys in front of him played horrible. They were horrible all night. They were slow. They were lethargic. They couldn't generate any offense. On defense, they kept letting the Panthers slip in behind them. And Jim Montgomery called it out, said, "Hey, look, the goalie did his job. He did what he could. When you have 4 goals tap in behind our defense, he can't stop those." And so I would only blame him for one or two of the goals. One of them hit his shoulder, bounced up, he lost sight of it, and went in. There's one. But overall, I mean, defense just they cannot for some reason handle the scrums in front of the net. The Panthers they muck it up in front of the goalie. The Bruins can't push them out of the way. They can't get physical with them. And then when they do try to, they get penalized. So, look, I just, again, I've been saying this for a whole year and a half now. I really wanted, and have still wanted them to just have Trent Frederick go up against Kachuk right off the opening faceoff and just pound the crap out of him because he did his nonsense again last night, chirping away. And, Frederick was ready to go with him, and he was getting ready to go. And then all of a sudden, he gets the 2 minutes unsportsmanlike conduct, and the other Kachuk got nothing. Like, will somebody just go over to him, pound the crap out of him, take the extra 5 minutes, get tossed out of the game? I don't even care anymore. I think that the Panthers are in their head. In their heads. The guys on the radio are like, well, they those guys are your daddy. I'm like, are you kidding me? We can't beat freaking Florida. Cut the crap.
You're right. You're right about that. And the disparagement it makes me think of other things, and I don't want to think about refs being unscrupulous or anything like that. So I'm just saying, you're right. They got to get a little tougher and just like put it down and say we're not going to be taking this the whole game, and let it be done with. Take the 5 minutes. And then, chill them out. But
it's overdue. It's way overdue. I mean, look, I understand this is not the 70s anymore. We have the bench clearing brawls, right, which I used to love. But this is going on way too long. If I was Jim Montgomery, I can guarantee you, if I was coaching that team, it would have happened in Game 7, the year they had the records. And I said it right after I said it then, and I'm going to keep saying it until somebody actually does it. I want to see somebody just get that guy and pound the crap out of him. I don't care what it takes. I don't care about penalties. It's the regular season. They're playing them next week here.
Yeah.
Next Tuesday or whatever, right? Next Monday or Tuesday. So listen, you got them at home. The crowd's going to be amped up. Somebody go over there and take a run at him and just knock his freaking head off. I'm just done with it. I don't care about winning or losing the game. I don't care about 5-minute penalty. You got to do something like that to get it out of your system, and so you can stop running around chasing them, trying to hit them or whatever. That's what they're doing. And the Panthers is just like, come on, keep coming. Keep being stupid. We're just going to keep doing this. It's frustrating. And I want to talk about the game because they couldn't generate any offense. The defense was terrible. They were not in sync at all in any phase of the game. They took a lot of stupid penalties. And look, I understand it's the opening game for the Panthers. They're putting the banner up to the Stanley Cup championship. That the place is going to go nuts. So it's already a tough environment or whatever. But you have to have a better showing than that. You can't go out there and lay an egg like that. That's gross. And if they continue to do that, boy, it's going to be rough until they get. And again, they have a lot of new guys too. So they have to gel with each other. This is the same thing we talk about with the Patriots with the offensive line. You have a whole bunch of new guys now. There's got to be 6 or 7 new guys, and they have to get continuity and work with each other now. And so it's going to take some time.
Yeah, it is. And I don't have it. I don't have the time. I love. I'm going to go on one of those rants again, Steve. I don't want to do it, but I just say that someday I'll be back full-fledged, like watching them and supporting them. Right now, it's hard to do it when it's like management sometimes. It seems to me like they're thumbing their nose at me on purpose, going, whatever, Kev, you'll be back. Whatever, sucker. And I'm like, nope, I'm not right now. You guys want to play like that? Do you think?
No, listen. We have all had those moments. I can tell you after the baseball strike when they had it back in the day. Oh, we're not coming back. We're not watching. Now everybody's back watching, right? So it's a cycle. And look, it's going to take. It's going to. It's going to take what I said and posted a few weeks ago when the Oakland A's or Chicago White Sox stadium was virtually empty with like 20 people in it.
Yeah.
Stadiums have to be half empty for them to get the message. The Bruins sell out every game. They're never going to be like that. So
I don't want to, don't want to go on a long rant, but Steve, even hearkening back to the days of when they had that basketball strike, with the guys against the owners type of thing, when they were having that strike, I think even though I understood what they were doing it for, the players with how they were up in arms and wanted their, if you will, their justice, their equal pay, so to speak, it still gave me a feeling of a bunch of these rich guys crying about, 3-5 million or something, and there are people out here that we struggling and can't even pay bills, and you're haggling about a couple of million versus 20 million. I'm not crying for you. So I started to check out even more so when I see a lot of the shenanigans that happens in basketball. And I was a fan back to the freaking the days back of freaking Bob Cousy. I remember a couple of those games. I can't watch them anymore. It's just not the same. It's hard to. I'll watch them, but not with the same enthusiasm. Not the same.
I'm with you. I got to be honest with you. I watched basketball up until probably sometime around the mid 90s when it all became about the superstars. One guy's got to get a shoe contract, and one guy's putting up 30 points. And I'm just going to pick Allen Iverson just because every game I would look at his stat line, it would be 11 of 30, 12 of 35. The guy's shooting 30%, but he's getting 40 points a game, and he's got the shoe contract. He's on TV. He's got all these endorsements and whatnot. It wasn't about the teams. It didn't become about the teams for me as a Celtics fan until Doc Rivers took over, and they started playing more team basketball. And I watched the Celtics, and they play more team. It feels like to me like they play more team basketball. The other guys still have teams now that have one or two guys, and those guys get the ball and they take all the shots. The Celtics have Brown and Tatum that are going to get the majority of the shots. But I feel that the other guys that they have now, because of the way their team is built, other guys can contribute. And there are going to be other teams, and I don't watch basketball the way you guys do. I'm sure that the Knicks, the 76ers, other teams across the league are going to have guys that, there's team basketball going on that I can't identify because I don't watch it enough. But I am enjoying watching the Celtics now, and so I'll watch the time. And I was hoping to talk Patriots next, but let's stick with the basketball and continue to talk Celtics until maybe hope we can get Frank will join us. I know they were playing over in Abu Dhabi. I know they beat Denver both games they played. I didn't get to see either one of those games, but I know the Celtics, beat them, 130 to 10 something, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And I look at the box score and I'm like, okay, they took it to them somehow. And so, did you get to watch any of those games?
No, I'm afraid I didn't see them.
No. All right. So look, again, we talked about it. Well, I think last week or the week before about what Joe Mazzulla said about, every year is different, and the target's on our back, and we got to keep the pedal to the metal, and whatever his comments were. I loved it, and I think it was Drew Holiday said that this is one of the hardest training camps he's ever had. So these guys, they got their foot on the gas, and they need to keep it on there. Again, it's early, so it's not they got to win by 30 every single game. It's early. It's exhibition season, right? But it sounds like they're preparing themselves as they should, because the target's on their back, and hopefully they're hungry to repeat. And I like what I'm seeing so far, and I like what I'm hearing.
Absolutely. Me as well. Yeah, they're practicing like they didn't win a championship.
Right.
They're practicing like we're hungry, we want to go get this chip. And quite frankly, good. I hope the rest of the league is going to be scared, shook, saying, these guys ain't playing. They're playing like like they trying to prove something. Yep.
And they're still doing it without Porzingis, which is huge. And I'm happy.
Yeah.
I'm happy that they kept Tillman and Queta, because Queta, he's a young guy. The guy's 7 feet tall. I mean, see what you have with him. You got nothing to lose. I mean, they don't have, big guys aren't just floating around everywhere. I'm happy that they gave those guys a chance. And I looked at the box score for the last game they played, and between Cornette, Queta, and Tillman, they combined for 22 points and 8 rebounds. And I mean, you got 3 guys covering basically what Porzingis could do for you. And again, they're not Porzingis, right? I'm not saying that, but can each guy come in and contribute a little bit of some scoring, a little bit, and some defense, and get some rebounds? I mean, we're not asking them to be the second coming of Porzingis, but combined, what can they give? And I think that they'll be okay. I mean,
absolutely, Steve. There's something to be said about the mental aspect of the game, which is having that confidence. When you have that confidence level up to a certain level, that's more than half the game. The physicality is a strong part of it, but it's that mental toughness, that confidence that you have to kind of kick in to all your endorphins to all of a sudden give you that, like, no, I got this. I'm gonna do. You ain't stopping me. So I think that having Tillman, Cornette, and
Queta,
they have the confidence freaking going out the gym right now because of the experiences that they have under their belt, that they've already just gone through a playoff, got a little bit of playing time. They're playing with the level of confidence that it's going to be tough to just kind of shake them off, like, you all played, and you all were champs, and you all did this, and no, it's not enough. No, you're not going to be able to tell these boys anything. They're balling, and they're going to be balling and scaring a whole lot of people.
I agree with you, because people will say that it was a fluke, especially given that some of the teams they played had injuries, like Indiana lost one. We talked about this. Mm-hmm. They had some teams they played where they didn't have all their top guys, but that happens all the time. And again, not to cross sports, but how many times did the Patriots play without Gronk and still win? So listen, losing Porzingis, it's not going to deter them. Based on them winning the championship last year, like you said, they have the experience of going through that and getting the job done. And I'm not saying it's going to be a cakewalk the whole year. No. There's still going to be games where we're looking at it going, oh, well, they just shot threes, and they shot 53s and they lost. And so that's going to be part of it. But I do like the fact that down the stretch, late in the season and in the playoffs, Joe Mazzulla did adjust. He adjusted that. They went more inside when they had to. And it was encouraging to see that they were able to adapt. And again, they're not going to be able to go full. Frank's like, oh, they're going to win 73 games, like 70 games. Like, no, they're not. They don't need to kill themselves doing it. Could they if they really pushed it? Yeah, but at what expense? I don't care if they win 70 games. They're going to be good enough that they're going to win 60 games, maybe, or whatever, and they'll be back where they should be. I think, as long as Tatum and Brown are healthy, they're going to be back, and they should be back in the finals. I mean, they really should.
I can agree with that. I can agree with the part that I don't care if they don't win 70 plus games. It doesn't matter to me, because I know that as long as they're, kind of forging forward with that same mentality or that same goal in mind, it doesn't matter about the 70 plus games. However, I will say that they are poised to win more than 70 games. And if they did, I would do a big na ha ha, I told you so to everybody that this wasn't a fluke. When they were playing last year, they should have had probably 10 more plus wins than what they had last year. Right. Some of
Oh,
those
I would
games
say
gave up.
minimum 6, probably. You're 6 to 10 easily. Yeah, we had those. Like, are you kidding me?
I'm trying to tell you. So I think the way that they're balling, I think that people are just like, yeah, they had some games and they took off and they blew people out by 20 and they did this. It's like, if with them having a mission to go after, it's like they got this real bad about winning the championship over people that, oh, we wasn't fully loaded and we wasn't ready and we want to hear all that stuff. I think they're going to stomp on a lot of people's necks just to prove a point. That, in fact, that would be lovely to see.
Yeah, I mean, look, I want that. I want them to repeat. I mean, I would say, to me, I would say they have to get at least minimum to the Eastern Conference Finals and possibly the finals in order to have what I would consider to be a successful season. If they lost in the first or second round, I think that would be disastrous for a team that's loaded like they are. That's just my early, thoughts on where they should wind up.
I think that would happen with the implosion. If something happened, we're beating ourselves.
Right.
Like you said before, coming down, taking a whole lot of threes, they're not falling, and those turnaround swings of 9 points, 12 points before you know it, we're at a big deficit just because we're missing threes. I don't want to have to live and die by those like that, and I think that they're going to utilize a little bit more of that kind of slashing type of run, just because now they saw that formula, especially JB figuring out that formula, going on the slash with both hands, either way. So I think they're going to utilize that a lot more and be inviting for JT to come along and start slashing with both hands.
Listen, he drives the basket a lot already. Both of them do. But I just remember when he was in the All-Star game and he had the left-handed glove there. Remember, and everybody was making fun of him. And he learned, and he got better. He got better last year, and he should be even better this year. And so I think we talked about it when they started throwing up all the threes. They got to start going inside and getting some more foul shots. They've been doing that, and they have to continue to do that, because I think they both can be strong inside slash whatever. I mean, you see it, but sometimes they slash and they get to the basket. They miss the layups. So they're getting there. It's just a matter of, how many foul calls they're going to get. And, we've already had the Tatum complaining to the ref stuff we covered, right? He's going to have to get better at that still, and put that behind him.
Just look for that this year. Look for that. A lot more slashing with both hands. JT has a tendency like, here, go to you, take the body and all that. Take the hit and lay it up with his right hand. Lefty. The JB was doing a lot more last year because he worked on that left. Everybody was stripping him. Every time he do that bounce and dribble at the top of the key and spin and come around with that other hand, they were taking his money every time. But now that he's going with both hands, that opens it up for a whole lot more to be going that route. JT as well, coming with the offhand. And I'm going to see a lot of other players. I know that they could do it already, but from Drew and Mr. White, oh boy, I think it's going to be a fun watch this year. I really do.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun watching them. I'm looking forward to seeing more of them and see how they do. All right, I'm gonna watch the time now. We're gonna move on. We're gonna talk about the Patriots now. Patriots. Before we get to the whole Drake May thing, I do want to recap what we saw against Miami. I want to get your thoughts. What your main takeaway from the game is, other than the offensive line, because we're going to hammer them to death. We're beating a dead horse there. There's a couple of other things I want to hop on, but I want to get your thoughts first. What you thought about the outcome of the game, or anything in particular that stood out to you, so far.
The mistakes that were mental mistakes, and the mistakes that were made by Miami kind of kept us in the game, but we couldn't even capitalize on that. They made some really stupid mistakes. Both sides of the ball and freaking coaching. Time management was kind of sketchy. It's hard to put your finger on it because they both were so bad.
All right, so let me just say this. It was a winnable game, obviously, right? They had opportunities. They beat themselves again with stupid penalties, false stop penalties, holding penalties. I can't tell how many times I'm yelling at my TV guys, you can't score going backwards. And it's been hopped on all over the place about how they were running the ball. And they actually had a chance to win the game. Forget about the Jalen Polk catch at the end where his foot was out of bounds, right? They had the ball at the 12-yard line with 1 minute and 13 seconds left and all 3 timeouts. They didn't try to run the ball once. And so I'm dumbfounded. The one thing they were actually doing good, they didn't try to, time management, exactly. So the one thing they were actually doing pretty good, even if the other team knows you're going to run it, you still got to run it at least once, right? Stevenson's chewing up 8 yards of carry. You got to give the guy the ball, especially down near the goal line. He punches him in. I'm stumped. They had a blocked punt, couldn't capitalize. They had a field goal where the guy mishandled the snap for Miami. They couldn't capitalize. I'm like, guys, this is ridiculous. They just, and Brissett, for the beatings that he's taken, the offense just stalls. Like it's too many 3-and-outs, or the progress they make isn't far enough for them to actually put points on the board. So they're like right in the middle of the field the whole game, and it's like they definitely blew it, and they should be 3-2 right now. They blew the Seattle game. They should have won, and I think they should have beat Miami. They beat themselves, and so the mistakes they're making, again, I think we said it. We've been saying it every week. The Patriots with Tom Brady, the other teams would make those mistakes, and the Patriots would capitalize, and they would win all these games. Now the Patriots are losing those kind of games, and it's wicked frustrating. They're like right there, and they just can't get over the hump. And so there's a whole litany of stuff to nitpick. But I'm not going to nitpick it too much because, like I said, the offensive line, we've been beating them. That's a dead horse. Keon White, 2 stupid 15-yard unsportsmanlike conducts back-to-back.
Yeah.
Look, early on, the first couple games, he was on fire. And, I forget the defensive lineman's name that called him out last week and said, hey, look, it's about the team guy. It's not about you. So he needs to get fixed. And maybe, I heard on sports radio, they said that, maybe he should be benched to start the games, kind of like what they did with Stevenson. Send him a message like, hey, look, you still got your Huggies on, dude. Get your crap together.
Yeah. I don't know if it's going to make a lot of difference. I don't know. It's frustrating to watch, Steve.
12 penalties, 12 penalties for over 100 yards. That's the second game in a row like that. That's horrible.
There's a lot of explaining that needs to be done. So I don't know. I 3-14 doesn't seem so far-fetched. I'm telling you, bro.
All right. So let me ask you this then. With Drake May being announced as a starter for this week coming up, are you in favor of that or not?
No, not really, because he's going to get torn up. He's going to get hurt, and then we're going to be rehabbing him as well as everybody else that's on the freaking line. No. So, we're not going to get anywhere with Brissett. And I know I was harping about the kid Milton with his arm and everything, but he's not ready either. He's
a project. He's way too green.
Nobody's ready. We're not there yet. And to put Drake May out there to the Wolves to get him hurt, it just seems like we'll be working.
Here's what I heard. and I heard this comparison a lot all week long, is they're saying that he's going to be like Jim Plunkett and he's going to get killed. And I was against putting him in until, let him sit the whole year, let him learn. But I have a few things I made note of here, and I'm going to repeat these. These two I've repeated before. Okay. The definition of insanity is doing the same things over and over again and expecting a different result.
Mm-hmm.
That's one. Two, when things don't work, they need to be changed. Would you say that the Patriots offense is working right now?
No.
So there needs to be a change made. Okay, let me ask you this. How many times do we have to watch Jacoby Brissett for 32 yards and a half?
We already did watch it.
No, how many more? How many more can you watch without gouging your eyes out?
None.
That's where I'm at.
None.
Right? How many games do we have to watch him throw for 130 yards in a game? And they get nowhere.
I'm all set. None.
Okay, so can we actually see a Patriots quarterback throw for at least 200 yards in a game?
Not this season.
Well, I think the only way you can do that is to put Drake May in. And, the offense needs a spark. They need a spark. They need a guy that can make some plays. I think the offensive line is the offensive line. He had a crappy offensive line at North Carolina. His offensive line was not much better than what the Patriots are right now, from what I've heard. And I didn't watch him play. But that guy threw for over 3,000 yards and a whole boatload of touchdowns. And so we can't keep trying to win games scoring 10 and 13 points in a game. It's not going to happen. Can we watch a game where they actually get 20 points in a game? Can they lose 24-20 and make it respectable? That's what I want to see. Drake May is going to make mistakes. Let's just not not see that he's going to be the second coming of Tom Brady or anybody else, right? But can I see some plays? Like, you got wide receivers out there with their hands up, but because the offensive line is so bad, Brissett's turning around, he's getting the ball, he's getting killed. Maybe May with his feet, and we've seen him, escape a little bit here and there. I'm not saying he's not going to get sacked or he's not going to get hit or that he's not going to turn the ball over, but they have to do something different. And
that's wishful thinking, and he's going to get hurt.
My friend said they should put Peter Griffin in.
Well,
listen, I just want to see something different. And look, I understand that the Patriots' weapons and offense are not the same as Chicago or Washington or Houston, but those young kids are all playing, right? And they're all making a difference. And, what do you draft a guy third for overall if you can't put him in? So earlier, if you remember, Mayo was asked if they were going to bring another veteran in, and he said no. Drake May is the second best quarterback on the roster. He's the backup, right? Excuse me for a second. So in my opinion, at this point, with the offense sputtering the way they are, put him in and see what happens. Again, I'm not looking to win 7 games and make the playoffs, but excuse me, they got to do something different. They have to.
Yeah, I understand and I see your logic. It's just that to throw him out there is going to, I hope, not jeopardize his future, but it's going to put them in a type of risque type of situation. Frank and I were talking about it earlier, and he said if they were going to put him out there, they shouldn't have announced it. They should have waited until the freaking damn near next to last moment, so that teams would have to prepare differently for him. Which I
agree with that. That's a good point. Oh damn, that's a good point by him. They didn't have to announce anything. He could have came out and said Jacoby's the starter.
Yeah,
and then flipped it and Drake May starting and shock everybody.
So
instead of tipping your hand,
prepare for him.
Right, but listen, it's a contact sport. So if you're afraid of getting hit, and look, I don't want to see him get hurt or killed or have him turn into Mac Jones either, but I think his makeup is different than Mac Jones. I think he'll be able to withstand a lot of that stuff. He's going to learn, and let him take his lumps then.
He's going to get him.
I'll put it this way.
He's going to get him for sure.
Put it this way. If they're intent on keeping guys like Pop Douglas and Keyshawn Boutte and Jalen Polk, and I forget who the other kid's name is now that got pulled over. Greg Bay's he's got to build continuity with these guys too, in practice and on the field, because those guys are going to be here next year unless they do something completely drastic. So look, there's another component to this too, because as you know, it's all about money, right? So now it's the Crafts ownership getting involved there and saying, "Well, the seats are empty. We're not drawing any fans. People don't want to watch. We got to do something." I think there's a component there. And listen, this is what bad teams do. Bad teams panic, and so this is kind of a panic move because they don't want the seats to be too empty. Nobody's gonna. I'm telling you, another week or two of Jacoby Brissett throwing for 130 yards and 32 yards and a half, and people are going to stop going. They're already trying to give their tickets away. I see it on Facebook all the time. Oh, I got 2 tickets. I got 4 tickets. People don't want to go, and it's nice weather. I mean,
I was just going to say, the weather is what's making it palatable to go to these games.
If you don't want to go when it's nice, if you don't want to go when it's nice and the tickets are free, that's a problem.
Yeah, but November, December, when it starts getting a little frigid and you sitting out there and there are no points going up on the board, yikes! It's going to be tough out there.
All right, let me jump a little bit. Talk about Jabril Peppers. I'm sure you heard what happened with him. He was put on the NFL put him on the exempt list today. So let me get your thoughts on that situation while I reply to some comments here.
What are my boys thinking of? Gee whiz.
These guys, they can't get out of their own way, really.
What the hell? I don't understand. It's hard to. It's almost like you have to get into their heads, get into their mentality of why. I don't understand. Why wouldn't you just? I don't know. It makes it really hard to feel bad for them. For me, I look at it like I know that you're a human being just like everybody else, but I'm going to look at it from the perspective of like a police officer. Oftentimes, people look at police officers like, but you get to do this and you get to do that, and you get to carry a gun. You should be held to a higher standard. You should have to do, but they're people. They're just people. They're not gods. They're just people that have been tasked with the responsibility to look after the community, look after everybody, and uphold laws and stuff. But they're not gods. They're infallible. They make a lot of mistakes, even probably more so than your average citizen. So I get it. There's that human component, but there's got to be a little sense mechanism that kicks in that says, "Yeah, but I'm not gonna choke her out, or I'm not gonna punch her in the eye. I won't go that far." I don't know.
Listen, he was here last year when Milan Lucic had his domestic dispute or whatever with his wife, and the wife called the police and saw what happened to him. I mean, you can't tell me if you're a player in this area, you didn't see that. Right? And listen, I'm not making fun of the situation by all means at all, okay? Because it's really not funny. But does he not know who Ray Rice is?
I know.
I mean, don't they have some kind of training or something that they put these guys through that shows these situations and says, guys, listen, this is unacceptable. We don't allow this. You guys are professionals. You have to act like professionals. Whatever's going on outside the building, look, you got to still keep it clean. And you don't hit women and all this other stuff. I mean, I'm just dumbfounded that this is still happening. I think I'm not pointing fingers or whatever, but to me, this situation, for him to be in a situation where, like, he ripped her clothes off and kicked her outside and all this stuff, and they were on and off again for 3 years. I mean, that tells me that they fight a lot.
Oh
Right?
yeah, it's a toxic relationship on both
Right?
ends.
It's a toxic relationship, and maybe he has abused her before, just she never said anything. All right, I don't know that 100%, but typically that's kind of what happens until it gets really to this level. And I'm just speculating that has happened, but typically that's kind of how it goes. Nonetheless, even if it's not, let's say this is the first time he really like tried to choke her or ripped her clothes off and kicked her and beat her or whatever. Dude, what are you doing? Like, what you can't do that. Like,
Well, you already said it. Go back to the Glenn Rice thing, or not Glenn Rice.
Ray Rice. I
Ray
know
Rice.
you're talking about.
Ray Rice. You go back to all these instances where you say, you know, there are cameras around. The people have cameras and phones and everything. Somehow they could pick it up on CCTV. The building out, the corner of the building, there's a camera on the building. There's a camera freaking across the street at the gas station. They're all over the place. So the idea that, again, you're just not even thinking of the idea of, you know, I could look really bad if this were to be put out there on camera or on TV or whatever. Not just put that off the side and just say the idea that I'm putting my hands on this young lady, beating her down like that. I know I don't really mean to hurt her like that, but afterwards I'm going to feel bad about what I did and say, I'm sorry, I shouldn't have done that. It's like, you can't do that. You can't go there anymore, especially when you know better. And you've seen it happen time and time again before you. You to even I can't imagine.
In that situation, I don't understand why those guys just don't leave. Like, I need to remove myself. I'm getting in my car. I'm leaving for a little while until things cool off. I'll be back. Or don't come back. Go to a hotel. Go to a friend's house. Call up one of the Patriot guys on your team at 3:00 in the morning. If you're close with one of those guys, be like, look, I need to come by for a little bit. I got a situation. Like, it gets heated. They're not thinking straight. I get it, but man, there's got to be something that registers with them. Like, okay, I have to remove myself from this right now. And the other part is, is she going to press charges? Because then if she doesn't press charges, then it's like, I mean, Lucic got put in the player assistance program. And so in order for him to come back, he has to get cleared by the commissioner. And the exempt list kind of does the same thing. Roger Goodell, he has to get cleared, I think, from them. So even if she doesn't press charges, maybe there's some kind of, training or whatever it is, his program he's got to go through. But, once everything is cleared out or whatever, next month, he has to go back to court. I wouldn't be surprised to see the Patriots cut him. But that doesn't mean that somebody else won't give him. I mean, and I think that this is what happens with bad teams too. They get these issues going. Last year we had Jack Jones with the guns. Aaron Hernandez. Who's the wide receiver from Tampa Bay that we brought in that Tom Brady wanted to bring in here? I thought his name is escaping me right now.
Brown?
No. Antonio Brown. I mean, they're bringing these guys in here, and look, I know it's not the Patriots, not the only team that has these issues, but they're getting more of them, and they need less of them, especially when you're trying to rebuild. And here's the thing too: the guy's a team captain, so he's supposed to be a leader, right? That's another thing. I mean, dude, you got to get it right, man. You just can't F it up like that. You just can't do it.
Yeah. I don't. I know it might seem like to be judgmental on one side of the coin, saying, "Yeah, I would never do that," and then you get into that situation. What I'm sorry, there has to be, especially as a professional ball player that has seen this happen to many of his brethren. that you would just have to remove yourself from the situation. Like you just said, it's like, you know what, you have the means to do so. You have the money that you can say, you know what, let me just pack an overnight bag. Listen, I don't want to argue with you. I'm out. Let me get my bag. I'm out of here. I'm going to the hotel, and boom, not a problem.
I wouldn't even do that. I wouldn't even tell her. If I was that mad, I'd just be like, I'd get in my truck and I'd just go somewhere and I wouldn't even say anything.
Of course.
Right? Because you don't want to tell them you're going to a hotel, they'll follow you there. Forget it.
Oh, yeah, of course. I mean, not literally say I'm to her, but you just say.
I know, but they see you packing a bag and then they're going to try to stop you and it's a whole nother. I know what you're trying to say, but I wouldn't be packing a bag. That'd be the last thing I'd be thinking about. My first thought is get me the hell out of here. Let me go somewhere. Let me figure it out. Bye. See you later. Remove myself completely until things cool off. And then, hopefully there would be a way for them to communicate without, having it get ugly, so to speak. And I know it's easier said than done. I'm not, I'm not Dr. Phil, and I'm not a doctor relationship guy here. I'm no expert. But, when you see these things from the 10,000 feet view or, from the outside looking in, you're just like, okay, how do you guys not have already something in place, especially if there is training either by the team or the league or both? Look, baseball has it. These guys every year, for the last how many years, some guy on the Mets got an 80-game suspension for that, or some guy on the Yankees. I mean, they have it there too. Domestic abuse, okay, 80-game suspension, gone. Right. So look, the guys individually have to do a better job. And, again, it's easier said than done. I'm not in their shoes, and too, if alcohol is involved, forget it. All bets are off. And I'm curious to see now, because they said he also had a Class B substance, which was cocaine, in his possession. And I don't know how true that is either. So again, we have to wait for everything to come out. I think the Patriots were smart not to really say anything because they can't, and they don't have all the facts yet. Right. And again, we live in a world now where, with social media, everybody's guilty until proven innocent. It's flipped. It's supposed to be innocent until proven guilty. So, look, I know what we heard and what we've been told and saw on the news, but we just have to wait now that he's not going to be with the team and not be there until next month, until more stuff comes out, and find out what the actual charges are, and what if his girlfriend's going to file charge against him, and go forward and see what happens. I think that I don't know. It's unfortunate. They're all unfortunate. Nobody likes to see these, no matter who it is, whether it's athletes or somebody personally, or just in general. You watch the news and hear that there's a domestic dispute and so forth. Nobody wants to hear any of that. It's not good. But it's a black eye for the team, and so now they have to work through that. And the publicity, it's bad publicity. Again, they don't want that stuff, so they really need to do a better job of figuring out. I don't know how you do it, but they got to do a better job of figuring these guys out before they let them run amok. Yeah. Anyway, let me move on real quick. I'm watching the clock here, and I know we're probably gonna overrun anyway, but let me briefly move on to the Red Sox. I know there's not a lot going on there, but I do want to touch on some comments that Craig Breslow made in regards to what they're going to do in the off season. He kind of sort of echoed Sam Kennedy's comments, talking about, they're going to be looking at, frontline starter, and they need a right-handed bat, somebody to hit home runs, and they're talking about maybe bringing O'Neill back. But a lot of it is just the same regurgitated nerd speak, and I don't believe any of it. Do you?
Nope. Sorry. I'm sorry that I'm so short with them or whatever, but no.
I mean, it's difficult.
I've heard this too much before.
It's extremely difficult to believe them when they're, like I said last week, Ocean State job lot dumpster dive guys all the time
Yeah.
for the last 4 years, and now all of a sudden we're supposed to believe that it's going to change. Like,
No.
you have to actually show me now. And so not to bring politics into sports, right? But this is like politicians and their Marxist, socialist, socialism garbage. Lie to everybody until you believe it, and so do they. And so they're trying to use like the Jedi mind trick on everybody by lying to us and telling us they're going to go for a frontline starter. But then in the same breath, Breslow said that, well, we had some guys here that pitched like frontline starters. And he mentioned Houck, Crawford, and Bayo. Now, Crawford started out hot. I think the top two pitchers was Houck and Crawford in the first half of the year. But in the second half, Crawford was a puddle. He got a boatload of home runs. He was not even half of what he was in the first half of the season. He crapped himself the whole way. So no, I don't think he should be put in that kind of sentencing as far as being like a number one starter. Not even close. Bayo, he pitched better down the stretch, but he was a mess in the first half. And
I'm not going for the okie doke. Sorry.
No, I'm not either. And then they have Giolito coming back. And so what are we going to get next year again? You're going to get Giolito's the ace, and then you got Houck and Bayo, and Crawford's fourth, and they'll pick up some bum. Don't re-sign Pavetta because he's like a D+. I don't even want him here anymore. I mean, he's not even an average pitcher. Okay. I mean, they have to really put their money where their mouth is. Sign an ace guy and stop pussyfooting around. And stop lying to everybody. Sit there, oh, well, the fans deserve it. We've deserved it for 4 years. Now, all of a sudden, we deserve it? Like, no. I don't buy it. I just don't buy it.
Nope, they're trying to just give us bargain basement and say, we know what we're doing. Love this product. Love it. Take this.
Well, let me tell you what hurts. The Detroit Tigers' payroll for the playoffs is $18 million total. And they're winning. And they were the hottest team in the second half from like the whole month of August on. And so I don't like that because that fits the Red Sox argument of like not spending big money on players. And in this market, that doesn't work. They're a small market team. They draw half the fans you draw. So they have to have a lower payroll. They don't draw like you do. So again, I don't buy it. But I hate that they're winning. And if they move on to the next round and maybe even the ALCS and whatnot, and if they make the World Series with an $18 million payroll, it's bad for business.
It's going to be bad for us, but I don't know.
It's disgusting.
What do you say? I'm disgusted with them, win or lose. So,
all right, let's move on from them. I think we beat that dead horse good enough. Let's move on to the poll questions.
Oh, man. Go ahead. I'm ready.
Let's see.
Just having a power issue.
All right, where'd it go? Okay. The first question was, should the Patriots finally start Drake May next week versus Houston? Mm-hmm. We had, yes, it's about time. Earlier, I had this at 100%. I have to recheck those figures, but it was 100% at one point. And no, he'll get killed with that O-line was 0. So I think a lot of people are ready to see Drake May. I think they just can't take any more of what I talked about earlier. I think it's time. Next, should the Bruins start Jeremy Swayman tonight? That was last night's question. We had yes, huge boost to the team, 16%. No, he's too rusty, 84%. I think most people agreed that it wasn't right to put him in yesterday. Even when they were getting shellacked, there was, they kept showing him on the bench over there. I'm like, really? It's 5-2 or whatever, 5-1. I'm like, you can't put him in. I'm like, don't do it. Mm-hmm. So luckily they didn't do it, but he was too rusty. Now we'll move on to the poll questions. I mean, not the poll questions, sorry. The predictions, last week's predictions. Mine was Jeremy Swayman asked for a trade. Wrong. Wrong as usual. I still can't get him right. I had Miami beating the Patriots 13-6. I was half right and half wrong. I had the right team, wrong score. So that was I knew it was going to be an ugly game just because of the way both teams were coming in. Frank, his big one was Kansas City was going to lose to New Orleans, and they did not. They beat them. They doubled them up. I think they beat them 26-13. He did say Houston would beat Buffalo. Ding, ding, ding. He got that one right. And he also said that the Bruins would keep Swayman for 8.5 on $9 million. So I give him half credit for that. Half credit for they keep him. Half wrong because of the salary. And look, I'm not gonna nitpick him. 8.5. He was close. He was closer than me. I said they should have traded him. So he gets more credit than I do. And you had last week, Kansas City gets their first loss, and trying the club, misery loves company. Thanks for joining me. So that was it for that. Predictions for this week. Man, I got to do something about getting these. Beforehand. I don't have any yet, so.
None. I'm gonna go on.
Do you? Go ahead.
I got Buffalo pulling it out over the Jets in the Meadowlands on Monday night.
Buffalo pulling it out over the Jets in the Meadowlands on Monday night. Okay. Since they fired the coach, the Jets fired their coach.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of shakeup over there in New Jersey. They don't know what.
You don't think it's going to help the Jets?
What they're doing, but as cocky as what's his name is back there.
Rogers.
Yep, as cocky as he is, I think that they're gonna come up short on this one with Buffalo. Okay. Buffalo's gonna be mad that they lost. I see them in not a blowout, but it's gonna be a good spanking.
Okay, all right, I'm okay with that because I hate the Jets anyway. So I'm also, and I can't stand Aaron Rodgers either. He's such a baby. I'm sick of him too. I mean, he's not even a Gen Z guy, but he acts like one. He drives me nuts. Him and freaking Casas, they both drive me crazy. Anyway, all right, I'm gonna go on a limb. That's not a big limb, I know, but Drake May, 200 yards, 2 touchdowns, 20 points for the Patriots. They finally show some life. I'm gonna go with that because we haven't seen it yet. And again, listen, I know he's going to be running for his life. I know he's going to get sacked. I know he's going to get hit. But you know what? I think he can make more plays. He has the ability. His arm is better. He can make throws that Brissett can't make. So
yeah, but this against Houston. We're going to be at home, but against Houston, that's a tough call.
It's a tough call, but you know what? Something's got to give. So something's got to give. I'm going with that. I mean, if he throws for 130 yards and 3 picks and they score 10 points, then, I'll be right back here eating crow like usual, which makes him no better. Which makes him no better than Brissett. But I think he's an upgrade. I think he can do a little better.
Okay.
So that's my big one. Let's see. I'm gonna go and say. This is not going to be popular either, but I'm going to say Swayman starts tomorrow night against the Canadians and they lose. I'll say 3-2 because for some reason, I don't think they're all in sync yet. And I don't know that Swayman's in good enough shape to steal them a game this early in the year. The Canadians have a habit of playing the Bruins tough. So again, it's not a outlandish whatever prediction, but this is going to ruffle some feathers because now people are like, oh, you're killing the Bruins. Listen, it's early. Nobody wins a Stanley Cup in October. Take a breath.
Okay.
All right, so that's what I got, and I need to get to the football picks because Frank and I did pick. You 0 for 14. You own 14, no picks. So you're gonna be the Detroit Lions of the picks. This week Frank got 6 right and 8 wrong, and I got 9 right and 5 wrong. I actually miraculously had a good week, believe it or not. So I got Frank the second week in a row. I got him, but it's unpredictable. You know how it is. I mean, all these games that come down to the last second of overtime, it's almost impossible now to figure out who's going to win or where they're going to win. It's difficult early on. Later on when teams are like 8-1 or 8-2, I mean, we should be able to figure out who the good teams are. But for right now, it's still a little bit of a struggle. So that's all I got, unless you got anything else.
No.
I'm getting ready to wrap up out of here.
Celtics coming up.
I meant to talk about their schedule.
Celtics coming up Saturday. They're playing Saturday. Philly.
They're playing Saturday and Sunday, right? Back to back. And then they have Tuesday. And then the following week on the 22nd is their season opener. So they're getting close.
Yeah. Looking forward to them. I just want to see them, I want to see them handling everybody without being angry, because they're expecting the Celtics to you were mad because of the Olympics, or you're mad because of this and that. No, I just want them to come out and just start stepping on these guys' necks, killing them by 20 and 30 points like they were doing last year, but doing it with a smile on their face, just killing everybody. I'm looking forward to this.
Well, listen, if they're mad and they're using that stuff as motivation, all the more reason, in my opinion. I don't think they need to do it with a smile on their face. I don't think I ever saw Larry Bird smiling that much. I mean, look, you got to have a killer instinct. Hopefully they have it. That's what I want to see. To you, what you just said, step on their throat, whatever, put the pedal to the metal, keep it on there, and don't back off. And,
but they'll be smiling because they're killing people. Because they're killing them.
Well, listen, when they do that, we see the bench, waving the towels and they're laughing and hooting and hollering, and that's fine. I'm fine with that. Okay, I agree with you though. I don't think that Tatum or Brown need the Olympics as motivation to win the championship. What they need is the belief that they're going to repeat as champions. Like, okay, we're the top, we're the king of the mountains. I'm going to say this again because I say it a lot, right? Ric Flair says, in order to be the man, you got to beat the man. Right now, the Celtics are the man, and until somebody knocks them off, that's the attitude they have to have. Look, we're the champs. Who? You ever watch The Waterboy?
Of course.
Jerry Reed, he's the coach that comes on with the buzzer, shows up the ring. Don't go messing with the champ. Right? So listen, don't go messing with the champs. Hopefully, they got it under control, and I'm looking forward to seeing what they can do.
Yeah.
All right, everybody. I think that's going to do it. We're going to wrap things up. I want to thank everybody for tuning in. Thanks for the comments. Thanks for voting in the polls. Thanks for the support. Kev, thanks for joining me. I appreciate it. Unfortunately, we didn't get Frank, but we still had a good time, and we'll see you next week.
All right.
Don't forget to check us out on YouTube. I'll be posting the videos over there, so you can check us out. Like, subscribe, and share. I still can't spit it out. I think I need Hooked on Phonics. Anyway, take care, everybody. We'll see you next week.
All right.
Have a good one.